The question of God's existence has been one of the most profound and debated topics in philosophy, theology, and human thought for centuries. It touches on the deepest aspects of human experience, touching on belief, doubt, reason, faith, and the nature of reality itself. The concept of God is diverse and varies greatly across cultures, religions, and individual perspectives. Some view God as a personal, anthropomorphic being, while others perceive God as an abstract force, a universal principle, or a collective consciousness. Throughout history, various arguments have been put forward in favor of and against the existence of God, each with its own set of assumptions and implications. To explore whether God truly exists, one must first acknowledge that the question is not only metaphysical but also deeply existential. What does it mean for something to exist, and what do we understand by God? These definitions themselves are complex and layered. Does God exist in a manner akin to physical objects, or is God's existence understood through a spiritual, emotional, or metaphysical lens? These are central questions that influence how one might approach the issue of God's existence. For many, belief in God is a matter of faith, a conviction that transcends empirical evidence or logical proof. Faith is often seen as a deeply personal and subjective experience. It provides meaning, comfort, and purpose, and it connects individuals to a larger community of believers. This faith-based approach to God's existence is grounded in the traditions of many religious texts and teachings, which suggest that God exists not just as a theoretical or abstract idea but as a living, active presence in the world and in individual lives. On the other hand, there are those who advocate for a more rational or empirical approach to the question. They seek proof, evidence, or logical consistency to confirm or deny the existence of God. For these individuals, the question of God's existence is not merely a matter of belief, but one that requires justification. Arguments for and against the existence of God from a logical or scientific perspective have been central to many of the great debates in philosophy and theology. Over time, various forms of these arguments have emerged, offering different ways of thinking about the issue. The classical argument for God's existence is often based on the cosmological argument, which posits that the existence of the universe itself requires a cause or explanation. This cause is typically identified as God. The idea is that everything that exists has a cause, and if we trace those causes backward, there must be an ultimate cause that explains the existence of everything. This argument has its roots in ancient Greek philosophy, particularly in the work of Aristotle, and was later developed by Christian philosophers like Thomas Aquinas. The cosmological argument raises important questions about causality and the nature of the universe itself. If everything requires a cause, then what caused God, the supposed first cause? This leads to further debates about the nature of time, eternity, and the limits of human understanding. Another well-known argument for God's existence is the teleological argument, also known as the argument from design. This argument suggests that the complexity and order in the natural world point to an intelligent designer. The fine-tuning of the universe, the complexity of biological organisms, and the apparent purposefulness of nature all provide evidence, according to proponents of this argument, that a designer must exist. This line of reasoning gained popularity particularly during the Enlightenment period, and it has been revisited in contemporary debates over the so-called fine-tuning of the universe. However, critics of the teleological argument point to the possibility of naturalistic explanations, such as the theory of evolution, which can account for apparent design without the need for a divine creator. The moral argument for the existence of God is another significant avenue of thought. This argument posits that objective moral values exist and that these values require a grounding in a transcendent being. If there is a moral order to the universe, then it must be grounded in something beyond human convention, history, or society. For many believers, the existence of moral laws, such as the universal belief in justice, compassion, and the wrongness of murder, points to the existence of a moral lawgiver, which they identify as God. Critics of this argument often point out that morality can be understood as a product of human evolution or social contract theory, and thus does not necessarily require a divine foundation. Furthermore, questions arise about what happens when individuals or societies disagree on moral values. What role does God play in these variations? The problem of evil is a central challenge to the belief in God, especially in the context of monotheistic religions that posit an all-powerful and all-good deity. If God is all-powerful, all-knowing, and benevolent, why does evil exist in the world? Why do suffering, pain, and injustice persist? This dilemma has been articulated by thinkers like Epicurus, who questioned how an omnipotent and benevolent God could coexist with the reality of evil. Responses to the problem of evil have taken various forms. Some argue that evil is the result of human free will, suggesting that God allows suffering because humans must have the ability to choose between good and evil. Others suggest that suffering can have a purpose, such as leading individuals toward spiritual growth or a greater understanding of divine will. Some philosophers, such as Alvin Plantinga, have developed the free will defense, arguing that the existence of evil is a necessary condition for the existence of free will and moral responsibility. The rise of modern science has introduced additional challenges to belief in God, particularly through the development of naturalistic explanations for the origin and nature of the universe. The theory of evolution by natural selection, for example, provides a robust scientific framework for understanding the diversity of life on Earth without the need for a divine designer. The Big Bang theory offers an explanation for the origins of the universe based on observable evidence, and quantum mechanics and cosmology continue to reveal the complexity of the natural world. For some, these scientific discoveries render the idea of God as unnecessary or even outdated. However, others argue that science and religion are not inherently in conflict and that the two can coexist in a complementary way. Some theologians have suggested that the natural laws of the universe may be understood as the mechanisms through which God operates. At the same time, contemporary debates about God's existence also touch on existential and spiritual questions that cannot be answered by science alone. Some individuals assert that the experience of God is something deeply personal and intimate, often felt in moments of awe, wonder, or crisis. Mystical experiences, moments of transcendent insight, and encounters with the divine have led many to assert that God's existence is not a matter of abstract reasoning but of lived experience. These personal experiences, while difficult to quantify or scientifically measure, have profound significance for those who have had them. For some, the very act of believing in God offers a sense of purpose, direction, and belonging that is impossible to replicate through material or scientific means. Ultimately, whether or not God truly exists may be a question that cannot be fully answered through human reason, experience, or evidence alone. It may lie beyond the reach of our senses, our intellect, and our understanding. For some, this mystery is a source of deep frustration, while for others, it is a source of awe and reverence. The question itself may be one that transcends the limits of human comprehension, and perhaps, in the end, the search for answers is as important as the answers themselves. Whether one believes in God or not, the inquiry into God's existence has profound implications for how we view the world, the nature of reality, and the meaning of life itself. The existence of God is, and will likely remain, a matter of personal conviction, intellectual exploration, and spiritual discovery. It is a question that cannot be answered definitively or conclusively in a way that satisfies everyone. It is, however, a question that invites people to engage with the deepest aspects of their own beliefs, values, and experiences. Whether one approaches the question with faith, reason, or skepticism, the search for truth in matters of God's existence is a journey that can lead to profound personal growth, moral reflection, and a deeper understanding of the mysteries of existence. We have gotten to the end of this video. If you know God truly exists in your life, like, subscribe and type "God loves in my life."